Remember when Arabin Hummel was our biggest bad? Like, he was the worst, and we were so worried about him. And, like, now that she's been taken by Maeve, I'm like, Arabin was a little weasel. He was just a basic human. Why did we even care about him? It seems so silly now.
Shit. Yeah.
He ain't shit.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Booked on Fantasy podcast.
I'm Addison.
I'm Rain, and we are two best friends who explore the world of fantasy through book shows and movies, but with a heavy emphasis on books. We're just going to jump right into it today. This is our Empire of Storms end of book wrap-up, so it should be shorter than our typical episodes, but, you know, we say that, but heavy.
We're liars.
Caveat, yeah.
Yeah. When we say short and sweet, we mean probably a little bit shorter than covering chapters, but maybe not. You never know.
You never know with us. It's a mixed bag, yeah. As a quick reminder, since this is our end of book wrap-up, there will be spoilers for all of Empire of Storms, as well as Tab, TOG, Com, Hoth, and QOS. So make sure you have read all of those books before you continue. Furthermore, we would like to remind everyone that this is an adult podcast where we will have adult conversations. Explicit language or potentially triggering topics may be discussed, so please be mindful of that and adjust accordingly. So as far as a quick roadmap for this episode, we'll start with our overall rating for the book, and then we'll go into some likes and dislikes. Next, we'll go into any outstanding questions and things that we would like to know. And then we'll, of course, end the episode with some predictions for the next book. So starting off, let's get into our rating. So this is a first for me, but I think Empire of Storms is going to be a 6-star book. I just love all the growth and development with the characters, both individually and with respect to their relationships. The continued full circle moments by tying in characters and events all the way back from Tab. And of course, I thought this had such wonderful action and tension overall. There were so many moments that stirred just like the full spectrum of emotions. We had tears, you felt joy, you had nail-biting anxiety, and then, of course, like pure outrage at the villains, aka Queen Maeve the bitch, and just gut-punching truth. So I feel like this book really kept me on my toes. I thought the plot was moved really well because we've finally gotten so many answers and information about what needs to happen so that we can move on to the final stages of rescuing Aelin, getting the final key, and hopefully destroying Erewhon to save the world once and for all. I know within my heart that I will be forever changed from this series. At this point, it's a done deal, and I am way too attached to all the characters to see any of them be hurt. But alas, this is not an epic fantasy for nothing. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty of tragedy left in store for us. So that does make me a little nervous. No.
Don't say that. No, I totally agree. I was just talking to some people about this today. Anyone who's read TOG is like, it will alter your brain chemistry. It will change you as a person. And don't get me wrong, I've loved the series and there's been some great moments. But it was not until this book that I was like, wow, I'm really not going to be okay.
Right.
I will never stop thinking about Aelin Ashford Realthanes. And we haven't even finished the series. That's the crazy part. We haven't even read the most important book. And I'm like, oh, you know, I don't know.
So much.
I'm nervous.
There's so much left to happen.
So much. It's kind of overwhelming when you think about it, actually. Well, for me, drum roll, please. Because guess what, guys? I will be giving this book a 5 stars for the first time on this podcast. It may be the first time on the podcast, but it's definitely my first time in the TOG series to give a book 5 stars because it truly was chef's kiss for me. There are obviously so many things I loved about it, but what really, really stood out to me were 2 things. First, Lorcan, baby. Lorcan. Okay.
You mean
but Daddy, I love him. Shirtless Lorcan. Yeah, but Daddy, I love him, Lorcan.
I can fix him.
I can fix him. I can change him. Yep. Obviously the most important part of the story by far. But in all seriousness, the real reason I'm giving this book 5 stars is the absolutely breathtaking, heart-racing, emotional impact of this book. And I'm not just talking about the devastating ending. The entire book is so emotionally important for all of the characters, and they all have these really important pivotal moments that drive their development. Truly, the character development in this book is just unparalleled, and I love it. I don't know what else to say because it's so good. And I know we say this every time, but truly, every book in this series continues to get better and better. I'm so happy that we're taking a little break so that way I can delay finishing it because I don't ever want it to end.
Yeah, I'm really glad, even though this is a really long series and we've been covering it for like a year and a half at this point.
Forever.
I am really glad that we started with this series because it's just so good. I can't think of another book, I guess, at this point would have preferred to deep dive or like to start with as our first series. So, yeah, so sweet.
Oh my God. We'll always have TOG, baby.
All right, so moving on, next we're going to get into some more specific likes and dislikes and just kind of what we'd like to see more of, if anything. So I had so many things that I liked, so I'm going to change this portion and give my favorite moments. Never let them know your next move. I narrowed this down to my top 5 favorite scenes and moments. So starting with number 5. Lorcan and Elide playing a carnival part before the Ilkin attack. I just love that they were both admiring each other. Lorcan's got these married ladies just like shoveling out good coppers that they probably need for their families because he's shirtless. And Elide is like fake annoyed, but secretly, obviously, she loves his abs. And then we also see Lorcan can't stop thinking about Elide's fruity lips. But the sweetest moment, of course, is that he didn't abandon her and he gives her like the strips of linen from his own shirt so that Elide would have something for her period.
I need to say thank you to you for letting me relive that because I hadn't forgotten about it, but then how he was all oiled up and she was like, oh, she didn't mind the sight if she was being really honest. I'm like, I bet you did it. Oh my God.
All right. So number 4, Lysandra turning into a sea dragon and kicking Major Bog ass in the water. Like that entire scene is burned into my memory. I think it's like a core memory from this series now because that was by far one of the most anxiety-inducing moments. There was just like such a mixed bag of things happening. You're like stressed that Lysandra might die. You have the bog like on the horizon. And this is coming fresh off of the situation with Deanna and everything. You just had anxiety and then you were relieved. And then you had like the romance with Aenion and Lysandra afterwards. And so it was a good moment. And then at number 3, when we finally learned the truth about Manon's Kraken lineage and that she is a literal Kraken queen.
My God. I hear your voice. It calls my name. Yeah, retweet on that for sure.
I just like felt like it was such a significant moment because it finally clarified the importance of Manon's character and like her character's journey and like the 13 and everything. And so it was just a very satisfying piece of information to learn, you know? All right, moving on. Number 2, Rowan and Aylin's big beach moment. Oh, this was like so, it was long awaited. And thank God they at least got this moment together given the ending of this frickin' book. I just thought it was such a sweet moment and I was pumped for them. I didn't cry. Addison did.
Hey.
I was just overjoyed.
Why you gotta do me dirty like that? That's rude.
It's not a bad thing to cry. I think that's probably normal. I felt like I was probably abnormal for not crying at the tenderness of their beach moment, but
yeah, you're the problem, not me. That's right.
I was just very excited for them. Yeah. And this brings us to my favorite moment, number 1, when Aelin incinerates 500 Ilkin alone. And then, straight after that, they all finally reunite with Elide. Such a cool moment. And then, of course, okay, this is like a special shout out. I only had one special shout out, but then I just thought of something else too. So my first special shout out was finally learning what nameless is my prize means. But I didn't want to put it in a favorite moment because that truth is just tragic and I hate it. And so while I was glad to learn the information, I don't like what it sets up for Aelin. So I can't like it. But the other honorary mention, special shout out for favorite moments, is just the end when Ansel comes back and then we get all the characters returning, Ilias and Rolf, and just seeing how everything has come full circle back from Tab is very satisfying.
Oh, yeah. A retweet on the Ansel thing specifically, I still think, hello, bitch. An iconic line from this book. Oh my God. I love Ansel so much. She better live. She better live in the series.
I know.
But definitely on the Nameless is My Prize, just go ahead and copy and paste that to mine. If you're new around here, Lorraine and I clocked that Nameless is My Prize shit back in comm. Like the moment Baba Yellow said that, we were like, yup, that's important. So literally for 6 freaking books, me and her will just be like, Nameless is my prize. We just shouted at each other because we didn't know and now we do. And so I have that relief that I finally understand, but it also comes with a great sadness, right? So mixed bag there, but don't worry, we'll continue shouting, Nameless is my prize.
Nameless is my prize.
I am going to copy Lorraine and do my top 5 favorite parts, moments, quotes, etc. because never let them know your next move.
That's right.
So I originally intended for these to be in order from top to bottom, but then when I started typing, I realized immediately it was actually impossible for me to rank them because I'd be like, okay, this is the best. And I'm like, no, wait, this. No, wait, this. So I'm just going to say them as I wrote them.
Fair enough.
So I will say this probably is actually number 1, but the rest of them are kind of mixed up. So when Alid and Aelin finally reunite in the Stone Marshes, the emotional payoff of that, it cannot be understated. It lives rent-free in my head. It was so beautifully written. If those of you that listen to that episode know that is the second time I have cried on this damn podcast publicly. I mean, I cry all the time privately, but publicly. Yeah, it was just so good. And I especially love the visual of them on the grass together. They're knee to knee and Manon mouthing the word hope. And something about that, those 3 storylines converging I'm just waving my hands around like a crazy person because I don't have the words. But I also tagged a little quote to this because I also think about this quote daily. It said, for over 10 years, Aelin had been the sole bearer of those final words. 10 years through death and despair and war, Aelin had carried them across kingdoms. And here at the edge of the world, they had found each other again. Here at the edge of the world, just for a heartbeat, Alid felt the warm hand of her mother brush her shoulder. And if that did not have you on the floor, I don't know what to tell you. It was so good. So I really love that. In our end of series wrap up, that will definitely be on there. I guarantee it. Okay. Next, Lorcan's character development and relationship with the lead. Also inclusive of that is the whole carnival deception storyline. That was such an unexpected and almost absurd and silly storyline. But I loved it and it really worked. And it added some nice levity in comparison to what Aelin was doing. So you had this really intense, stressful path of Aelin, and then you kind of switch to Alid and Lorcan, who it's still scary and unnerving, but kind of hilarious, right? Yeah. The way they balance each other in this tiny little Alid and the hulking giant Lorcan, and it's just great. So I really love them. Next, Rowan and Aelin finally consummating their love. If you have not gone and listened to the episode where we cover that, please do. For reference, it is chapters 38 through 42. But I literally bitched about them doing the deed for so long. I complained about it in almost every episode. And it finally happened. I thought I was going to be like, hee. And instead I was like, oh my God. I was crying. I was bawling. I thought it was so beautiful. I've never cried during an intimate scene, but that one, it broke me. And so I loved it. I know. I was just a big blubbering baby through this entire book, really, to be totally honest. But yet another moment where Addison cried is Manon's defection from the Iron Teeth witches. Okay?
Ooh, yes.
Cannot sing the praises of this moment enough. Obviously, it's great because we hate Granny B and we do not want Manon or the 13 to help Erewhon anyway. But the moment when Manon makes the decision was so fantastically written. And so here is another one of my favorite quotes from this book and probably the entire series. It's as Manon is standing there getting ready to execute Astrid. And it said, and Manon understood in that moment that there were forces greater than obedience and discipline and brutality, understood that she had not been born soulless, she had not been born without a heart, for there were both begging her not to swing that blade. Manon looked to the 13 standing around Astrid in a half circle. One by one, they lifted 2 fingers to their brows, the gesture not to honor a high witch, but a witch queen. Oh, I literally have goosebumps right now. Like, oh my God. I mean, obviously the reveal about her lineage and just, ooh, damn, that was some good, unexpected plot twists.
Yeah. I really enjoyed seeing Mon's character journey in like her
Yes.
transformation as a witch and her path moving forward and stuff too. So another excellent quote.
Another excellent. Thank you. Quotable quotes, baby. I'm all about quotable quotes, okay? And then last but not least, I'm actually going to squeeze 2 very quick elements into my last slot. First, I liked the introduction/reintroduction of new characters that I know are going to steal my heart. I'm looking at you, Gavriel and Fenris. I am really excited to see how they play into the story, especially knowing Fenris is going to be with Aelin, wherever Maeve took her. And then kind of my last quick little sub point is, I actually talked about this in the very first episode. It's been a while since we discussed it, but I really loved the political realism of this book. I know everyone hates Darrow, and I know he's not great, but I liked that the storyline had very realistic elements of politics and war planning. This young, extremely powerful 20-something-year-old long-lost queen didn't just roll in and take over. Instead, they were like, girl, what? No, girl, where have you been for the last 10 years? And I appreciate that, right? Because I think there's a realistic element to that. And so I think that was very well done.
I agree. All right. So moving on to, I guess, some dislikes or less dislikes and more just like things, I guess, that we would have liked to see more of since we both rated these books 5 stars and above. So yeah. Clearly there was a lot that we didn't like. So as far as like dislikes, quote unquote, go, I really didn't have anything that I didn't like from a writing or a narrative perspective, but I do have a couple things I would have liked more of. So first, I would have appreciated more POVs from Lysandra and Dorian in particular, because we barely know anything about Lysandra's thoughts throughout this book, and I think Dorian seems to be too important of a character to get such a small amount of inner dialogue or thoughts from him. I think we talked about this a lot in our final Empire Storms episode. I just want to know what he thinks about everything and how he's been piecing the info about the keys and the gods together, because I'm sure he has a lot of thoughts about that. He's always been a bookish knowledge person, and he internalizes and I think is like processing a lot of stuff in the background that he's not necessarily actively saying to anybody. So I've been really curious about his thoughts on everything. I also really would like to know how Aelin and Lysandra's conversation went down about the nameless is my price thing, and then the subsequent plan they formed to have Lysandra like double as Aelin for the rest of their lives, because that was like a pretty big reveal in this last set of chapters. And then last, I also would have liked to get the Aelin and Rowan marriage scene. Cry. I'm hoping we'll get some sort of like flashback scene from Aelin or Rowan, most likely in Kingdom of Ash, but I guess we'll see. I know it was kind of like a short and quick thing, but I just want to know what they said to each other. Like, I bet they had like really cute vows.
I don't even think about it from that perspective, because it probably was like quick and dirty, but I want to know what their internal thoughts were. Like, I would love to see Rowan's POV when she asked him to do it, because you have to remember at this point, they have not acknowledged their mates. Right.
True,
and so,
yeah.
But they obviously love each other, so there's a lot of tension in that, and there's a lot of ramifications. So I agree. Those are both pretty heavy, important conversations. I wonder what Lysandra's reaction was when Aelin asked her to do that, because Lysandra has to know that's crazy.
I mean, that's lifelong too. Like, if Aelin were truly to just be like gone, like Lysandra is doubling as Aelin for the rest of her life. Like,
yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Wild. Maybe we'll get it in like flashbacks in KOA.
That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see.
Yeah. So very similarly, dislike sounds kind of bad. So I'm just going to say it's more like, I wish this was different or a little more of. I actually ended up giving a little baby mini TED talk about this in our last EOS episode, but Dorian, similar to Lorraine, he seems like he's written to be super important to the story. Like, he's a main character, right? He has Paula's bloodline. He has all these really impressive powers, and he's connected to Manon. But he's just not really in the series that much to me, like past TOG, right? And he's a totally different person from TOG to now. I feel like I just didn't get enough of his POV and his character development. I think I'm starting to see it, but I'm really hoping there's going to be a lot more of him in KOA. And I think there will be because now he's separated from the group. So I think we're going to follow what's going on with Aelin. We're going to follow Dorian and Manon, and then we're going to follow Rowan, Elide, Lorcan, and Gavriel as they go to rescue Aelin. So we're kind of separating again, like all of our characters converge, and then we're going to break apart again. So hoping we'll get more Dorian. That's my hope. This is also going to sound kind of weird, but I wish there was more Erewhon in this book. I almost forgot that he was like the actual true big bad villain, which from my perspective seems mildly problematic that I forgot the main antagonist in the 6th book of an 8-book series, considering he doesn't even really get introduced as a villain until Queen of Shadows. He almost seems unimportant. Like, I'm not worried about Erewhon right now. I don't really think about him. I don't care about him, whatever. Like, I'm worried about Granny B. I'm worried about Maeve. Erewhon who? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who? Who dat? You know, we get that one interaction with him and Ilium, but other than that, there's really nothing. I don't know. I'm interested to see how he's going to get woven into the story, maybe through TOD, but if not in KOA.
Yeah, and like what he's, I guess, ultimately planning.
Yeah, what are his motivations?
He has one key now.
Well, we think there's some ambiguity about that. We think that he does, but there's still some question about it. So I don't know. I got a lot of questions about him. So more of him, if I can say that. I mean, obviously less of him, but also more of him, you know?
Yes, I agree with that. That's a good point. I didn't really think about that. Because, yeah, as the Vold king, he's supposed to be like the big ultimate bad. And like the gods want him thrown back through the word gate to go to his homeworld or whatever with the gods, and they'll like chop him up over there. But or whatever they do to destroy a dog.
Okay, chop him up. Oh my God.
So that wraps up that section. Now we're going to move on to our outstanding questions, things we would like to know. My most pressing question, of course, is whether Aelin actually has to give up her entire life force or just her immortality to forge the lock and seal the word gate. This was another thing that we kind of talked about, like in the last Empire Storms episode. It kind of feels like maybe she won't have to give up her immortality, but that is yet to be like officially confirmed. In a similar vein, what does it mean to actually forge the lock anew? Do we need to create an entirely new lock? And that's part of why Manon and the Krakens have entered the chat. Or can they use the Eye of Elena again just by like re-imbuing it with power? So just generic questions about the lock. Next, of course, is what is Maeve's ultimate angle? And is she a Valg? We have not let this go, of course, and we are assuming that she is, but that hasn't been confirmed. But in that case, how did she get to Aurelia? How does she conceal this for such a long time? And what is actually like her situation with Erewhon? Because if she is a Valg, then you'd kind of assume that they're playing on the same team, but it doesn't seem like they are. So, you know, what's the relationship between the two big bads? Last, I just have questions about the actual process of sending Erewhon back through the word gate. Like, I'm assuming Aelin can't just, like, grab him by the hand and push him through or, like, yank him in, you know? So, like, how will they actually get him through the word gate, you know?
Yeah. There's a lot of ambiguity on the how all of these things are supposed to happen, right?
Yeah.
So those are all fair questions. We would like to know.
Would love to.
Retweet to all of Lorian's questions. I'm just going to say mine in a rapid fire fashion because, well, I can't discuss them. I'm just going to throw them out there, okay? Where's third word key and how are they going to get it? Will Manon find the Krakens and unite them? Not if, but how will they get Aelin back? Will Elide forgive Lorcan? Will Aedion forgive Aelin and Lysandra? What the hell is Erewhon up to? Why hasn't he attacked? What is he doing? What is going to happen with Aelin's immortality, settling, etc.? And last but not least, very important, is it possible for me to love Tower of Dawn or Kingdom of Ash more than I loved Empire of Storms? I don't think so. Gonna be a no. We'll see.
You don't think so? Wow.
I don't know, man.
Well, you have yet to give 6 stars to a book, so.
That's true. There's always hope. She hoped.
You can always give more than 5 stars.
I'll think about it.
5 is
That's
not
really
the
hard.
limit. You can expand
The limit does not exist.
Yeah, think outside the box. The stars are the limit.
Do you not get my Mean Girls reference? Disappointing.
Oh, no.
The limit does
Do it
not
again.
exist.
Oh, the limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist. Damn it, Lorraine. That was so cleverly worked in, and you just crushed it. Ugh.
I was thinking about the stars, and I was just,
Rattle the stars, baby.
yeah, rattle the
No.
stars.
I'm always thinking about Throwing Glass and Mean Girls. Those are my top 2.
Fair. Yeah.
And Dr. Pepper. Those are my top.
We are
Oh,
getting
30.
close to October, so October
Oh my
5th.
gosh. It's October 3rd. Oh my God. We have to record an episode that day.
Yeah. Okay, anyways. All right, so to get back on track, next we have our predictions and theories for the next book. This will be our final little section for this episode today. So I'm going to start with Kingdom of Ash related ones since we're going to go back in time when we read Tower of Dawn next. Of course, in Kingdom of Ash, obviously, we're going to rescue Aelin. I would imagine that they'll have to kill Maeve before moving on to Erewhon, or at the very least, they'll imprison her forever by putting her in some, like, super powerful tomb, like what happened to Erewhon, or something similar, because otherwise she poses a huge threat to their entire mission with the keys and their overall safety, so they're going to have to do something to Maeve. I stated this in our final Empire Storms episode, but I think Dorian is going to be the one to get the third word key from Erewhon. I just feel like him and Manon are on a quest that feels more related to that. And in relation to that, I think we've gotten enough info now to where I am definitely on board with Aelin and Dorian combining their powers somehow to use the lock and like close the word gate, or just working together somehow to get that final task done. I also believe we're going to find more Kraken witches, and Manon, of course, will become the Kraken queen and get them to help with the war against Erewhon. And my final point, I hate to say this, but I think a major or beloved character is going to die in the process. For example, we've talked about the witches using the wielding or something, so that's on the table for the 13. Or, I mean, I could kind of see like maybe Lysandra or Adian dying too, which I hate. And
Shut your mouth.
Sick, but
Shut your mouth. Don't put that into the world.
I know. I don't want it to be true. I feel like somebody that we really love is gonna die. Yeah.
I know. The thing with this series is there are a lot of beloved and even important side characters. Like the 13, Gavriel, Fenris. Not Lorcan and Elite. They feel like main characters. But also like Lysandra and Adian kind of feel like main characters, but they kind of feel like important main characters that could die. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
sacrificed,
options. Yes. Or like even Kael-ish kind of makes me feel like, you know, he's kind of primed for that. There's a lot of opportunity for beloved people to kick the bucket. Damn. Well, on that note, very similar. I agree with all those. But I'll also add that I think Manon and the 13 will break the Kraken curse and reclaim the Western ways. I'm very excited about this. Also, this is totally random, but I'm not going to let it go. Never forget those damn Stygian spiders. They will come up again some way, somehow. Same with the merchant in the market from the assassin in the desert. Same with that stupid owl that is always around Maeve. Something Athral's ring. Just all of those things. All of those tiny threads. I'm like, okay. And then, you know, honestly, there are just so many predictions and directions you could go for KOA because it is literally 1,000 pages and it's the end of the series, so it's the final resolution. Honestly, I could say a bunch of character stuff like Elite and Lorcan will end up together happy, and same with Lysandra and Adian, and same with Dorian and Manon, right? So this kind of in the background, I have all of those thoughts, right? I demand that everyone have a happily ever after. I demand it. I will accept nothing less.
They deserve it.
Oh my God. They freaking deserve it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are just my small contributions and additions.
Excellent. I like those. Okay. So next, these are a couple predictions for Tower of Dawn. I don't really have a ton of things to say for this one. For one, I think Kael will be healed at the Torre Chesme. And through that, this will likely be how him and Nezrin meet Irene. Because from Tab, we know that was her goal, was to get to the Torre Chesme so she could study and become a healer. I also think Kael and Nezrin will successfully acquire some allies. That seems pretty clear, like we're on track for that. I'm just not really sure who, because I don't think we've been exposed really to like what kingdoms or groups are in the southern continent specifically.
I have an answer to that. I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I guess I forgot.
But I did
Okay,
never
next.
forget, baby.
So next, I think we'll meet Irene. Obviously, since back in Tab, we learned that's where she's headed. And to take it a step further, I think that she actually might have actual healing magic. Now, reflecting back on everything learned about Irene and Tab, and now that we know having healing magic is a thing amongst magical powers that people can have, I think she definitely does. We know Irene's mother had been a gifted healer, aka she had healing magic. And so just thinking retroactively about Irene's circumstance, I would be willing to bet that Irene does as well. I actually went back in my tab notes and I saw at the time that I thought Irene might know about or use word marks to heal people like Euphemia did. But knowing what we know now, I think it's just that she has magic, not the word marks. So
I love you so much. I love you so much.
There was one quote back in Tab from Irene about her mother, and this like kind of supports the whole Irene has magic theory, but it said, as a prodigiously gifted healer blessed with no small amount of magic, her mother had always said it wasn't right to charge people for what she'd been given for free by Silva, the goddess of healing. So, I mean, not to say that it's guaranteed that magic will be passed on as generations go by, but pretty sure that Irene probably has magic. Aside from that, I actually have no idea what's going to happen plot-wise, but we will definitely be deep diving into Kale's character for sure, since it seems like the book is mainly going to focus on his journey.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about Tower of Dawn because it is a fat book. Like each consecutive book gets longer and longer. So I am wondering what other plot is going to be going on because the whole book cannot just be about Kale healing. Like I think that's an important part of it, but there's got to be a lot more characters introduced and political players and negotiations and discussion. I don't think the whole book can just be centered on getting allies. There's got to be other information, something revealed that ties it into what's going on with Aelin. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
it cannot just be he's there to get better and show up with an army. So I'm very curious to see, like, how it embeds itself into the overall narrative of the series.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think Kale will be healed. I think we're definitely going to meet Irene Towers. We've met everybody else from Tab, and she's the only one who went to the Torrey Chesme. So I'm excited to see in KOA if Irene comes back with Kale, if Aelin will recognize her. Obviously, it's not going to be like a big emotional reunion, but like if there will be some acknowledgement or something. So I don't know, but maybe Irene will only be in this book. I don't know. So to answer your question about what the hell Kale is going to do, I think Ravi and Sol will finally get introduced. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I got you, fam. So back in Heir of Fire, Murtaugh, Ren, and Edian discuss them sending messages to Ravi and Sol in the south. I think they're like brothers or cousins or something, but they rule in the south to try and rally forces to support them. There's a very brief discussion about them and the kind of their personalities. And then they're never mentioned again. Ren and Murtaugh kind of fall out of the story, and then they sort of come back in the beginning of Empire Storms. SJM planted the seed there because I think, she had the vision for Tower of Dawn. So that is my guess. And that's my prediction.
I like that.
I know. When I remember that, I was like, oh my God, my brain is amazing. I also feel like there's going to be some big battle with Erewhon where it looks like they're going to lose. And then Kale will sail up with this fat ass army from the southern continent and save the day. Like in other fantasy series, some by SGM, some not. I feel like there's always that moment, right? House of Dragon, Game of Thrones, right? Where like the good guys are losing and they're getting their ass kicked. And then a fresh set of soldiers comes over the horizon or crests over the hill on horses. And you're like, they're saved, and then the army has a fighting chance. And I want that. Okay, I need that.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, bitch. Exactly. Oh my God.
That's how I want them to show up.
Right? I agree. We're going to write a book.
That'll be how our army rolls up.
They can just go, hello, bitches.
Hey, bitches.
What's up? What's up? Okay. Oh my God. And last but not least, my most important prediction, count your days, Erewhon. Aelin, Ash River, Galathinius, Heir of Fire Queen of Terrazin is coming for your ass, okay?
That's right.
So you better look
That's
out.
right.
You better look out. That is my prediction for the rest of the series, okay? So, you know what I was thinking about randomly today? Remember when Arabin Hummel was like our biggest bad? Like he was the worst and we were so worried about him. And like now that she's been taken by Maeve, I'm like, Arabin was a little weasel. He was just like a basic human. Why did we even care about him? Why were we even worried about him in the slightest? It seems so silly
He ain't
now.
shit. Yeah.
He ain't shit.
And now he's dead, so
That's right.
do not rest in peace.
Oh my God. Damn, girl. I mean, I agree, but damn, that just sounded really vicious. Damn it, Lori.
Oh my God. Okay. Hey, guys, we're clocking in at like 43 minutes so far. So, like,
Ayo.
pretty quick. All right. That brings our episode to a close. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Booked on Fantasy podcast. As always, we are so glad you found us. So please leave us a review and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube to keep up with us on a daily basis. Well, that's all we've got for you guys today.
So live a little.
And we'll catch you all next week. Bye.
Bye. And stay tuned for some bloopers. Here at the edge of Here at the edge of the world. Yeah, so retweet all of Lorraine's questions. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Retweet. Oh my God. I can't do it. I'm so out of practice. Okay. Retreat. Retreat. Retreat.